Hey, I'm Bethany Hiska. I'm a reporter, counsellor, and author. I've dedicated my life to helping women understand their relationships with men so they can start receiving the love and sex they deserve from both themselves and others. The reason I know how to help, I went through my whole life jumping from relationship to relationship, subconsciously trying to gain approval through sex and giving love to the wrong people. I felt unworthy, frustrated, and hopeless because I noticed I was repeating the same patterns over and over again. I decided to do research into why I was this way, and the research turned into this podcast. So as I'm learning, I hope you can learn with me. Let's do this. Today I spoke to Anna, who I met through Instagram. She's an author and she helps men discover who they are and what they want in life. So we're covering being yourself, not settling, having a supportive father figure, and finding some role models, getting rid of toxic people, that kind of thing. Hope you enjoy. Hi.
Hey, how you going?
Good. So tell me a
Yeah.
bit about yourself, like your background. What do you do?
So my name's Anna, and I basically have three accounts now on Instagram. One is for the blog, which is how I talk to you. One is for coaching, and another one is for my author profile because I just self-published a book, so that's super exciting.
Really exciting.
Yeah, heaps going on. Definitely using the pandemic to kind of do what I wouldn't be able to do in any other situation. So yeah, and
Wow.
especially at this point. So yeah, and I also do like coaching mostly for people from relationships, life transition and life crisis, and also self development. So that's something I'm very passionate about. So yeah,
Cool. I saw some of your stuff about some blogs about dating and things like that.
yeah, yeah.
I
Oh
really
yeah.
enjoyed reading them.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. You should have told me because I was like, sometimes I'm like, why am I going on about this? But other days I'm like fired up, and I'm actually about to put up. I actually just wrote it up: 7 ways to improve quality of relationships for fire signs, but it can be for anyone. It's just a really fun thing I've put together because I was like, okay, this is all the stuff that we're good at, and this is all the stuff that we suck at. Let's maybe. So yeah, I do these things all the time. So yeah.
Yeah. And how is your dating life at the moment?
It's interesting. Let's just put it that way. It's always interesting. I really have like no patience for people once they like if they can't figure themselves out by a certain amount of months. I'm like usually out of the picture. I'm like, nah. Like it just bores me. Like I want to
Mm.
see passion in an individual, that assertiveness that he knows what he's going for, that he's got a ton of interest in his life as well. It's pretty much like a reflection of my life. I can't really just sit with a couch potato all day. Although we can always be couch potatoes, but this is in a different
Well,
sense.
we're forced to right now, aren't we?
Exactly. So,
Mm.
and you're freaking engaged, getting married in the UK soon. Like,
Yeah. Well, who knows when that's going to happen now because of all this
oh, oh, it'll
drama.
happen. It'll happen.
So, we've been talking about issues with men in our lives, speaking of men in
Yes.
our lives, like affecting and our early childhood relationships
Yeah.
with men and how that they've affected the way that we are with men now, or maybe.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
what are your has that rung true in your life?
Big time. Big time. When you told me about stuff like daddy issues and father figures and all that, I mean, I may have looked at about it before, but it never really came out because I felt like I didn't have enough material to go on with. But when I was a teen, my mum was essentially getting divorced with one man, and then she was remarrying another. But that was between like 17 and 25, so it was this huge transition. But something that really got me was how she grew up with a man who was either not really at home all the time. Obviously, this is what happens to a lot of kids. And then she married another guy who it was almost like a status thing. Like she felt like she married him, and it was like this beautiful man, and I got him kind of thing. And I grew up with that, and he could be an interesting man to live with because I didn't really know him in the end of the day. I had a lot of issues and transitions that I had to make, and I didn't like a lot of them. Like sometimes I felt jealous of my mom's ability to just be herself and just be like casual around guys and ask them for help and just as if they were friends. For me,
Yeah.
that was incredibly difficult when I was a teenager, and I found that I was jealous of that. So, and that's why I was like, okay, this like I knew deep down that I had to change because I like guys a lot. I'm about to blog about male ideals in the modern world. Like, I
Yeah.
really want to help them out and stuff. And might even be coaching another guy to, get over that fear of rejection and get over past traumas and, move forward. So I'm really supportive towards them, but the way I was handling things growing up was also insane. So, but fortunately, my mum changed to a man who was very supportive, very calm, very assertive, a real leader at home, and that changed obviously everything.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to him for the fact that I could believe in men and I could, go forward with that. So a lot of things going on there. But when you asked me this question, I was like, yes, I know everything.
So do you think you're like not reluctance, but the fact that you're shy when it comes to speaking to men, is that how you would word it? Shy or awkward or?
Awkward, definitely. Bit aggressive because you've got that built-in defense mechanism where it's like, oh, he's going to do this to me, so I'm already going to be like this to him. That was kind of like the mindset back then. Whereas now I'm more like, woo, Anna. If I get too happy, if I get too, playful, I already know where I am. And I'm like, so there's a lot of guys that can be intimidated by that. So I just, I courteously with them until I feel that that is accepted or that they feel comfortable with that. So it depends. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. Awkward, definitely, definitely had that kind of passive aggressive vibe going on. And that's like the most horrible thing as well. Like I hate it when I see that passive aggression in people because it says a lot. First of all, they can't process the emotion that they have. Second of all, it's also really horrible because you can't accept that emotion, can't process it, it comes out passive aggressively.
That's right.
And it's also really scary even confronting that. And you go, okay, how do we do this?
Yeah.
So I've had that quite a lot. And when I see that in people, I also feel sorry for them because, there's a better life outside of that once you get through that, because it's just like any other emotion, but people just can't do it. My mom has it sometimes as well. And used to be, especially with guys that she didn't like, and she'd be like, oh, well, you like this person, so you want to eat this and this. And I'm going, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Oh gosh.
So what was your biological father like?
He had an Eastern European background, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the stuff came from the fact that he was with mum, the fact that he lived with her, because they were not a great match.
Yeah.
Lots of clashes, lots of misunderstandings, and then they evolved in time because mum got promoted at work, he got promoted in work, but then he was not happy with certain things she did, or she was not happy with certain things he did, but they never quite let it work. So he was, you could describe him as a fairly aggressive person, but apparently he was also a very sensitive person, but I kind of intuitively knew this, but it never came out in the relationship itself. And the only way I could bond with him was, by going to the movies or, like just entertainment, like arts, like watching something, but I never really knew him. And by the time he remarried, so kind of my parents remarried within a month of each other,
wow.
several years ago. Well, one I had absolutely no idea about, and the other one I was like, yes, do it. I love you guys. Do it. Get in there. It was completely like, I figured out where the extremities in life were coming from, thankfully. So, so he married someone who obviously met his needs much better, and therefore he was a completely different person. And I guess it's kind of where I find a lot of injustice in life also comes from, that whole, resenting the fact that you felt cheated about something, or, in time you saw this different person, you're like, well, wait a minute, who are you and what are you doing? Like, it's totally possible, which is why I understand people when they, live with someone, but in the end of the day, don't even know that person at some point. So you get that.
Yeah. How do you think that their relationship has affected your relationships? Have you had any long-term relationships?
That's a great question. I'm still kind of in a life transition right now. I mean, in terms of, I know what I want better. I know where I want to settle better. But in the beginning, I kind of made it all about the family, which was a huge learning curve in itself because, you can't really make your life about a family that's not necessarily healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not saying anything against anyone, but at this point in time, I realized a lot of things. So Yeah, now those parents, I find it a miracle that I came to be where I am, because I saw everything I did not want and everything I wanted in life. And in order to get there, I had to change a few things, which I was more than happy to do. Because obviously, whatever's healthy, whatever's unhealthy, you have to change certain habits, certain mindsets, turn to different people, turn to the people who will understand you completely. I put a really big premium on people who understand me without having to explain myself, which is amazing. I highly recommend that to a lot of people. And the second thing is to obviously, kind of find role models for yourself, and not even maybe role models, but people who can show you a different way of living, or, a different way that they approach life and relationships. That's what I did. And it made a huge difference. So, and obviously get rid of toxic people and patterns in life.
Yeah. So, with your coaching at the moment, the men that you're coaching, what are some of the issues they're having? Does that relate back to like male figures in their lives, do you think?
It can. The funniest part is that there was one man who approached me, thanks to my blog. I've got quite a few fans of it. I really enjoy the fact that I can neutralize my readers, my authorship enough that anyone can read my stuff, and that's ultimately what I'm trying to do. Because I'm like, I mean, anyone who likes my stuff, I've had people who also don't necessarily read, and their visual gets stuck in my blog and forget that they have a pizza baking. Like, I've had that.
Yeah.
Which tells me that I'm on the right way.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, the male ideals. I find that since there's so many family splits and so many family situations that are obviously less than ideal, where do they even know what to do with themselves as guys, as men? That women really need. And I know this because I'm part of many support groups as well, even on Facebook. And they tell me, and most of the time it's either something that's in entertainment, it's an artist, it's well, those are the top ones. And another one is, obviously finding a lot of inspiration in women, in women who also have like a lot of kids who are very nurturing and giving, and these guys see how, because of the fact that they're so much more comfortable with their inner feminine, they're able to relate to women. And they also, women find themselves so comfortable around them that they, in the end, have like issues just even, being by themselves, because women just love them, So yeah, it's a lot like that. And on the other hand, I know people like, for example, on my mom's side, my uncle, he's a complete marshmallow. Like, he's such a soft person, and women love him. Like, LOVE, capitals, bold, highlighted.
Like is it like a more of a friend thing, or?
Hugely, yeah. I mean, obviously, he's also got the looks in the family. Well, that's what they say anyway. I'm like, whatever. But just that comfort, that behavior. Like, when a woman senses that a man is not threatening, boom, like it's all systems go. So
Yeah.
yeah, most of the time, yeah, it's usually a real insecurity within the inner manhood. I've even known some guys who have one guy who's, I'm a big fan of Derek Jackson and a big fan of Trevor Boehm, and they both have like books, and they coach and they teach men how to, really become their inner men, like that themselves, and also kind of have that lead them in life, and also lead them with, relationships, etc. Because
Yeah.
there's just obviously a lot of mistakes that men are making with women, and well, vice versa. But you know how it is.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that the softies get the ladies, because I did a podcast a
Yeah.
few days ago with someone called Sarah, and she was kind of like, if you're not threatening and you're not alpha, I'm not interested.
I mean, I understand where that comes from. To make life easier, people will simplify it like that. I get
Yeah.
where that comes from, but I also do believe that, it could also be the fact that women just think point blank that unless a guy is this certain label, that, they're not going to get anything from him, or that he's not going to do what they want, that he's not going to be the leader of the family, because at the end of the day, it's a unit that you're looking at. It's the unit of the woman and the man, and they have to accept each other and align.
Yeah.
And it's like, I even had another dating coach who's also a guy, funny enough. Met up with him before, and we were talking about, this whole dating thing. And funny enough, he's got a thing with Derek Jackson. They've got this two things in common, where women were usually asking them, for help within dating. The men, it's like, I don't even know what happens to them. They just want to hook up all the time, obviously. But, you know, So it's really amazing how I said to him, like, and I had a lot of feedback from also my former housemates and also, you know, women, and I noticed that it always comes back to one thing, which is they both want to be heard, they want the attention, they also want to know that they're seen,
Mm.
but in different ways. Men are obviously on, well, traditionally on the more physical side, and
Yeah.
women are more like, are you listening to my day? Like, am I important to you? Am I a priority to you? You know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So as you can see, you know, I've really researched into this and I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. Yeah.
I think with men, like women and men, that women want a man that's confident and that comes across like he knows what he wants, exactly what you said in the beginning.
Yeah.
And if they're kind of insecure and not sure
Yeah.
and sort of hesitant, it's not attractive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what one guy was asking me about. He's like, I have these traumas and I have these issues and I've looked around for counseling services, etc. I can't find what I want. And I'm like, okay, Googled up, sent him the link, went, see how that goes.
Mm.
And he's like, Santa Maria, it's good stuff. And then the next thing I know, he's also talking about how he's sick of being rejected by women. And I thought, okay, first, there's at least 3 issues that need to be addressed here. And I said, first of all, you need to be, you know, sure of yourself and your manhood. You need to find out, you know, you need to find out what it's like to be attractive to the opposite sex,
Yeah.
which is a biggie. Like we all, like we go for that, you know. we need to feel that we're like the bomb, you know.
Exactly.
And obviously thirdly, you know, find your ideal woman, like that's all in the same gamut. And you know, but it just sort of takes time and experience and journaling what the hell it is that you're wanting and what, you know, your deal breakers are, etc. So
Exactly.
yeah, I was like, come back to me once you have that figured out and I'm more than happy to help you out with this. So
It's also I think a big thing for women and men is that they don't there's things that you need to fix about yourself that you can't like try and get from another person. You can't expect another person to make you happy. It sounds cliche, but it's true. You got to do the inner work first, because people can see straight through it when you're not healed and you're just looking to
absolutely.
just take.
Absolutely. Completely agree. And I feel like it's also something that, you know, we're probably the victims of the commercialization of love as well. Like just the way, you know, we look at all the entertainment, but then of course we don't really have that close, strong unit that tells us, you know, hey, you might be wrong about this and this. How about you let that person do this and this? We don't have that.
Yeah.
If I've never had it, and I had a, you know, what I would call a relatively strong family unit overseas, then I would assume that no one else has that guidance, because, you know, we think that we know everything from entertainment, but it's always about consuming rather than serving, if that makes sense. And I think it all falls into the same category. So I'm just like, well, wait a second. And I mean, even for me, like sometimes, you know, a guy will be like, oh, this is how I work. And I'll be like, oh, great. Oh, so that's not how I thought. Okay. So I literally have to, I have to process this information before I give any feedback and go, well, how do we move from here? Because this is what I think.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got that going on. You can't just go, this is how it's going to be. That's authoritarian. No one does that anymore. We can't even afford that approach anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
yeah.
Just before we wrap this up, I just wanted to get your the websites to your blogs. Gosh, can't speak today.
Absolutely. They are they all have a bit of a story, but for the blog it's stuckonamountain.com. That one's fun because it was sort of like a little treat for me while I was finishing my master thesis back like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
If not more. Lost track of time here. And the other one that I've got for my coaching is Vibrance Life Coaching. I should be able to have it somewhere on YouTube as well. And for the book, I've only just put it out there, so it's mostly on Amazon, but I have all 3 and I'm more than happy to link you up with them. But
yeah, that's so exciting. I'll put them down in the comments and in the description of the podcast.
Absolutely.
So people can check that out, because I actually, thoroughly enjoyed it. Especially the one about the language barrier that you had with that guy.
Oh, you read that? Yeah, no. Oh, do you know what? Honestly, if you people know me well enough to know that half of this humor comes from me not just making mockery of life, but also of myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I met this person, and he'll probably be watching this at some point too. I met this person, and I'm like, no matter what happens, I am motivated to, if he comes halfway, I come halfway. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should have that same mentality. But it was also this whole thing about, even though he's half American and he obviously speaks the language, because of the fact that life happened and he's tired, just came from work, I'm excited, but also like nervous as all hell for some reason, even though I've known this person for a couple of years now, right? We come together and we have to like really control ourselves, and I have to wait for him to process this information I'm telling him, and he has to be like, okay, like, that was too honestly. Can you like simplify that?
Yeah.
It's just amazing thing. And I don't know how, but I somehow come up with these juicy clickbait titles where, I'm thinking to myself like, ooh, I remember that show, So You Think You Can Dance or whatever. And I was like, so you think you can date, huh? You think you know everything. You think that just because this person speaks the same language, you might actually be aligning. No, it's far from the truth. And that was something that I just sort of came up with because I was really getting off on that moment. Like, where in my head it was like, hey, Anna, why don't you, be honest and be like, sweetie, I am so excited right now, and it's worsening things because you need to like, hear my Aussie at the same time. You have to process what I'm trying to say, and at the same time, there's all this flirting and innuendo and everything going on. Like, it was like a house on fire, and I was like, oh boy.
God, you have to never feel like you need to censor yourself. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. And that's where a lot of this comes from. So I'm really glad you enjoyed that. Sometimes I feel like I need to categorize my blog a bit better, but it's not really what I came to do. I just came out to sort of push that art out there, like all of my experiences. You might also enjoy the learning a lesson from acting dumb. It's really amazing. Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, absolutely. So it's been an incredible journey, but I have to say, on the other hand, I'm able to help people with what I know, so that's really cool. Just like, you've got all of your fitness going on, you've got your man who's into the gym. I'm like, okay, I feel like I just, lost 5 kilograms just from watching you guys.
Yeah, we're struggling at the moment. We're picking up rocks. I don't even see I'm picking up rocks and running.
Oh my
God,
gosh.
running is the worst.
I don't know how you do that. I mean, I can do jogs and walks. Running, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I can't really do much more than that. I'm just like, oh God, no, bring back the gym.
It's like, sweetie, can you just carry me?
Yeah, pretty much.
You trained all your life for this anyway. Just prove it.
He has bench pressed me not bench. He's pressed me over his head. I don't know if you've seen that video.
Wow. I might have. It sounds like something you guys would do, but yeah, it's just great. Is he a quiet person, or is
Quiet?
he...
Yeah, he is quiet. He's very like reserved and calm. I'm the opposite usually. So we cancel each other out,
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's one of those balances. I've noticed that I really can't handle it around a guy who's like full of it. I can't. I'm like, whoa. That's why I was like, yeah, it's not such a bad thing to be with a silent type,
Yeah.
They're pretty brainy as well, they can shut up and just sit there for a bit and just observe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually very masculine as well.
Yeah, I think so. And that's what actually first attracted me to him, really, is that he doesn't need to put on an act.
True.
Like, he's just genuinely himself.
He's
and he
just
came
there.
from like a really good, stable family. Like, his parents were awesome teachers.
Wow.
And you can really see that come through with him as the man that he is.
Awesome.
So,
yeah, no, you definitely can. He's got that inner wisdom.
Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's fantastic watching him, and I'm so happy you guys got engaged and clearly get on, and the kids love them, so that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I'm still alive. He's still alive, I should say, in isolation with me for 4 weeks. It's been 4 weeks now, I think. Yeah, he's stuck here, so he can't even fly home.
That's great. Did you guys meet at the gym as well, or was it? I'm just curious.
No, we met over. We actually met over Instagram.
Oh.
Because we had mutual friends here, because he used to live in Adelaide. Like, he's lived everywhere.
Oh.
And just hit it off by text, and then we started doing the video calls, and like I knew when I first saw his face on the video calls, like we were both like just smiling at each other, like in silence for the first like 2 minutes.
Oh yeah,
super cute.
that is so sweet. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really glad that happened. It seemed really natural too, because it just sort of just happened and then just kept going, and I'm like, come on, Beth, you can do it. You can do it. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, I'm really happy for once, but it's been a long road, and that's what this podcast is all about and what the book is all about. So hopefully something comes of this, and it helps people, I'm sure.
No, absolutely. I think so. I think there's something when you're really down to earth and true to yourself, the way you come out, that people just will tag on. Like they're like, oh, she's like me, or this I can relate to. So, and besides, you've got kids, so that's like another big tick, because for some reason, socially speaking, people are funny if a woman of a certain age doesn't have like, you know, certain things ticked off, and you've already like done pretty much everything already. So they're like, oh, she's cool. Yeah, she's legitimate.
I've had the life of like 5 people already. I needed to stop.
Gosh, that's like a big exercise in itself.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Very nice to speak to you.
You too.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
See you later.